Fitzgerald, one of America's greatest writers, was born in St. Paul, Minnesota, on September 24th, 1896. F. Scott actually stands for Francis Scott. He is actually related to Francis Scott Key, the composer of the national anthem. Before F. Scott was born, his mother Molly McQuillan had given birth to 2 girls. Unfortunately, they both died due to an epidemic. They were 1 and 3 years old. When F. Scott was born, he was the center of attention to his parents. 4 years later, Molly lost another little girl 1 hour after she was born. Then in 1901, Annabelle was born. She was healthy, but the family never liked her, so there are almost no photos of her anywhere. So I decided to add her in. Fitzgerald began his education at St. Paul Academy. He didn't pay much attention in school, resulting in poor grades. He also wasn't the nicest to his classmates. He would criticize them to their faces, leading him to have few or no friends. His family later moved to New Jersey, where he attended Newman School, a prestigious Catholic preparatory school. He graduated from Newman School in 1913, then attended Princeton University. Fitzgerald was actually a football fanatic and decided on Princeton not because of the academics, but because he watched Stan White's touchdown against Harvard. At Princeton University, he got picked on for being the poorest boy there. He was placed on academic probation due to his bad grades, so he decided to drop out and join the U.S. Army. When Fitzgerald was stationed at Montgomery, Alabama, he met a woman named Zelda. He fell in love, but she didn't want to get married because she was afraid that he wouldn't be able to financially sustain her. When This Side of Paradise was published, he became famous and made a name for himself. This book also convinced Zelda to get married 1 week after its publication. F. Scott Fitzgerald was born and is obviously from Minnesota, but most of his writings can be traced to the East Coast, mainly New York. A lot of his writings were also done in Paris. The couple traveled frequently back and forth. Fitzgerald wrote many more books and short stories. Sadly, none of his books earned him any awards, and the attention would slowly die down. But his most famous work is The Great Gatsby. You may remember the movie that was recently produced, but either way, here's the trailer.
I will tell you God's truth. God's truth about myself. I am the son of some very wealthy people. Sadly, they're all dead now. I lived in all the capitals of Europe, collecting jewels, hunting big game, painting a little. Then came the war, old sport. Every allied government gave me a decoration.
Major J. Gatsby for valor extraordinary.
That's right.
Could it all be true? Gatsby. He had an extraordinary sense of hope, but I had the uneasy feeling that he was guarding secrets.
Milk tears, I did this for you.
Gatsby. I'd like to know who he is and what he does.
Gatsby? What Gatsby?
My boss.
Mr. Carraway, this is my good friend, Mr. Maya Wolfshot.
I understand you're looking for a business connection.
Happens to be confidential. You understand?
Imagine me and you, I do.
I'm certainly glad to see you again.
I think about you day and night. It's only right.
I'm certainly glad to see you as well.
So happy together.
I wish we could just run away.
I've just heard the most shocking thing.
You and me.
It all makes sense.
Me, you.
You can't repeat the past.
Can't repeat the past.
Why, of course you can.
That trailer was for the movie in the year 2013 and is actually the reason why I wanted to study F. Scott Fitzgerald. But the first adaptation was in 1926, and when it was released, Zelda and Fitzgerald went to go see it. They hated it so much they walked out of the theater. The two went on to have a daughter named Frances Scott Fitzgerald. Their lifestyle was way too extravagant and landed them into debt. Slowly, Scott turned to alcohol due to his feelings of failure compared to some of his friends, like Ernest Hemingway. Zelda slowly became unstable and was institutionalized for schizophrenia, where she spent the rest of her life. F. Scott Fitzgerald moved to Hollywood, where he did screenwritings, stopped drinking, and began writing again. But he was stopped by a heart attack at the age of 44 in the year 1940.